Emmerdale for Friday the 1st of August teased that Charity won't be able to keep her fall in the woods a secret, especially as her condition becomes increasingly dangerous. The morning had started out ordinary, brisk air, overcast sky, and that low hum of countryside silence only broken by the distant calls of birds. Charity had agreed, somewhat hesitantly, to join Mackenzie on a quiet walk through the woods. It was meant to be calming, restorative even. But somewhere deep in the forest, as they maneuvered around a slippery incline, Charity lost her footing and fell hard. She insisted she was fine. Mackenzie hovered, anxious, offering a hand, which she waved off with a forced smile. The truth was, her body ached, and not just from the impact. She knew the timing was risky, her embryo transfer was days away. She'd been meticulous in her self-care until now. The fall wasn't part of the plan. Later that afternoon, at Jacob's place, Charity sat stiffly on the couch, trying to shake off the growing discomfort in her abdomen. She distracted herself with conversation, forcing laughter where none came naturally. Her body, however, betrayed her. She shifted in her seat repeatedly, gritting her teeth against twinges of pain that grew sharper and more insistent. When Sarah called to check in, Charity kept her voice light, dismissive. She didn't mention the fall. Didn't mention the pain. Didn't mention the fear. She returned home that evening just in time to attend the wedding celebration for Mandy and Gabby. The pub was alive with color and chatter, music bouncing off the walls, champagne flowing freely. Charity tried to lose herself in it. She perched at the edge of her seat, sipping water, half smiling at the toasts. But midway through Mandy's tearful speech, a sharp cramp seized her. Her hand flew instinctively to her stomach, and her face twisted in pain. Mackenzie, ever watchful, caught the moment. He leaned in, concerned. "You all right?" "Must be something I ate," she lied quickly. "Think I need to head home early." But she didn't go home. She went to Vanessa's instead. Vanessa had barely opened the door when Charity stumbled through, pale and trembling. She didn't need to speak, Vanessa knew something was wrong. Over mugs of untouched tea, the truth spilled out. The fall. The hidden pain. The ache growing worse by the hour. As Vanessa helped her to the couch, Charity gasped. A warm wetness pooled beneath her. Blood. Vanessa acted quickly, calling an ambulance even as she kept Charity conscious. But it was too late for the surrogacy. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed what Charity already feared. The embryo transfer was off the table. Her body needed to heal, and the trauma had thrown everything off course. Charity's world tilted. Her guilt was crushing. She had agreed to be a surrogate with the best intentions. Redemption, a sense of purpose, love. And now, all she felt was failure. Mackenzie tried to comfort her. He brought flowers, her favorite magazines, even baked her banana bread. She smiled, thanked him, but the light in her eyes was dimmed. She hadn't told Sarah. Every time the opportunity arose, she faltered. The idea of seeing that look of heartbreak on Sarah's face, that disillusionment, was too much. But silence was growing heavier. Sarah was starting to ask questions. "You don't seem yourself lately," she said one morning. "Is everything okay?" Charity nodded. Too quickly. Elsewhere in the village, Mackenzie found himself caught in another web. His interactions with Robert had become tense, brittle. Once, he thought they could have been friends under different circumstances. But now, with the recent theft of a stash of cannabis, suspicions rose, and it didn't take long for Mackenzie to trace the rumors to Robert. At first, Mackenzie was hesitant to accuse him outright. There was something about Robert that always kept you guessing. But a leak about the stolen goods made its way through the village like wildfire, and all trails pointed back to one person. Robert. Worse, word was spreading that those behind the cannabis were dangerous, and they were looking for someone to blame. Retribution loomed like a storm cloud over Robert's head. Mackenzie stood by the window of his flat, staring into the darkening sky. The village never stayed quiet for long. Secrets never stayed buried. And sooner or later, the truth always found its way out. Charity couldn't hide forever. And neither could Robert. Vanessa sat quietly by Charity's hospital bed, watching the rhythmic beeping of the monitors, as if they could tell her something Charity couldn't. The doctors had said the bleeding was under control and that physically, she would recover. But emotionally, something had been broken, something deeper than the body. Charity hadn't spoken much since regaining consciousness. Only the occasional murmur about Sarah, and how she couldn't face her yet. Mackenzie arrived later, clutching a bouquet of cheap petrol station flowers, unsure whether he should smile or apologize first. When he saw Charity lying there, paler than he'd ever seen her, his heart sank further. "Hey," he whispered, placing the flowers awkwardly on the side table. "How are you feeling?" "Like a failure," she replied flatly, eyes fixed on the ceiling. "I messed everything up." Vanessa gave Mackenzie a brief nod before slipping out to give them space. "No, you didn't," Mackenzie said. "You slipped. It was an accident. It could have happened to anyone. But it happened to me," Charity snapped. "During the most important week of our lives. I didn't even tell Sarah. I still haven't. What kind of mum does that make me?" Mackenzie hesitated. He wanted to reassure her, but he knew anything too soft would only make her retreat deeper. "It makes you scared. And human. She'll understand. But you need to tell her." Charity turned her head slowly toward him. "Not yet. Let me have tonight. Just one more night before I have to break her heart." Back at home, Sarah was beginning to sense something was very wrong. Her calls to Charity had gone unanswered, and Mackenzie hadn't returned either. When she finally got through to Vanessa, the truth she heard left her stunned. "Why didn't anyone tell me sooner?" she demanded. Vanessa, steady and calm, replied, "Because your mum wanted to protect you. She didn't want to worry you." "Well, she did a crap job of it." Sarah rushed to the hospital the following morning, eyes red, hands trembling. When she saw Charity, hooked up to machines, so still and small in that bed, all her anger melted into grief. "You should have told me," she said softly, sitting beside her. "I would have been there. I wanted to be there." Charity blinked back tears. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could be strong for you." Being strong doesn't mean shutting people out. In another corner of Emmerdale, Mackenzie was facing his own dilemma. Robert had been increasingly aloof, and Mac had begun to connect the dots. The break-in at the barn, the missing plants, the whispers of a leak. It all pointed to Robert, but not in the way Mac had expected. He discovered, through an anonymous message, that Robert had confided in someone about the grow-up, someone who then betrayed him. Now Robert was in deep trouble. Word was spreading fast in dangerous circles, and someone was already looking to settle the score. Mac knew if he didn't act, things could spiral quickly. He met Robert near the viaduct that evening. Tension hung between them. "You told someone about the setup, didn't you?" Robert shook his head. "I didn't mean for it to get out. I thought I could trust her." "Who?" Robert hesitated. "Melissa. She needed money. I was desperate. I gave her a cut. She promised to stay quiet. Well, she didn't." Robert cursed under his breath. "So what now?" "Now? Now we clean it up. before anyone else gets dragged in. Meanwhile, Charity was finally discharged. Her body weak, her mind scattered, but she was home. At Vanessa's insistence, she stayed with her for a few nights. The familiarity of their past, the comfort of unspoken understanding between them, made it easier for Charity to breathe. One night, as they sat watching the rain tap against the window, Vanessa finally asked, "What now?" Charity took a deep breath. "I don't know. I wanted to give Sarah something beautiful. A sibling. A new chapter. Now I've given her another scar." Vanessa turned to her. "You still have time to heal. To choose something different. But you can't do that by punishing yourself." Back at the pub, Mackenzie returned with bruised knuckles and a heavy heart. Sarah cornered him in the hallway. "You knew, didn't you? About Mum?" He nodded. "Yeah. She made me promise not to tell you. She thought she was doing the right thing." Sarah didn't respond immediately. "Then, thank you for being there for her. Even when she pushed everyone else away." He smiled sadly. "That's what you do when you love someone." But there was still unfinished business. Robert, now fully aware that the walls were closing in, met with Mac and proposed a risky idea. "We sell off the rest of it. Everything we have left. One final deal. We take the money and disappear." "That's not a plan," Mac said. "That's desperation. It's survival. Unless you have a better idea." Mac did. He contacted an old acquaintance who owed him a favor. Someone who could clean the operation, wipe the trail, and make it all disappear, for a price. "You sure you want to burn this bridge?" the man had asked. "Some bridges deserve it," Mac replied. The deal was made, and within 48 hours, the last remnants of the grow operation were gone. But whispers lingered. Melissa had vanished. And someone was still looking for retribution. Charity, meanwhile, had begun rebuilding. She sat with Sarah one afternoon, wrapped in blankets and sipping lukewarm tea. "You know," she said, "I never really believed I could get it all right. I just wanted to give you something good." Sarah nodded. "You still can. Just don't shut me out next time." Charity smiled faintly. "Deal." That night, a knock came at the door. Mackenzie answered it, and a man in a dark coat handed him an envelope. Inside was a photo of Robert, taken the day before. On the back, "He talks again, he bleeds." Mac closed the door, jaw tight. Charity appeared behind him. "What is it?" "Nothing you need to worry about," he lied. But the truth was, their past decisions were still hunting them. And not everyone gets a second chance without paying the price. Outside, the storm was rolling in.